Hey there team, Coach Alexa here. I'm going to do a little series on feet. Feet are magnificent things, wonderfully designed, beautifully complicated, and quite underappreciated. I think we don't tend to think about them that much, only when they're causing us pain or having an issue. The rest of the time we just kind of ignore them and leave them to get on with things. You know, we're training our cardiovascular system with walking, running, cycling, whatever it might be. We might be doing some strength training to train up the muscles in our core, legs, or upper body, but we don't tend to think too much about our feet, do we? Until, like I say, until something goes wrong. So from a running perspective and a walking perspective too, I think the biggest thing that people are nervous about are blisters, followed by toenail related issues. So in this video to kick off with, I'll talk a little bit about blisters and effectively how we can avoid them. So the top one really is footwear fit, shoe fit. I've done a little bit of stuff about this before in previous videos, but just a very quick recap. Effectively, you're looking at shoes that just fit well. So slightly snug but not tight around the heel and the sort of arch area in the top of the foot, but with plenty of room around the toes, because when we land on our feet, particularly when we're running, our toes actually lengthen a little bit as our arch flattens and widen a little bit for balance. So we want room for them to be able to do that. If there's not enough room, every time we land, they're going to be rubbing a little bit on either the end of the foot box, the toe box bit of the shoe, or on the edges, and that's going to be a bit of a recipe for disaster. Also look at the condition of your shoes. As runners, we're often told to look at the sole of the shoe and how that's wearing, but do look at the inside of the shoes as well. Maybe pop your hands in and have a little bit of a feel around if you're starting to get hot spots or blisters on a slightly older pair of shoes. Mine tend to always go at the heels just because of the funny shape of my heel bone. And so you can see it quite clearly, the fact that maybe the fabric starts bobbling, and that's not going to be too comfortable to do runs or walks in. So keeping an eye on the state of the fabric inside the shoes. And socks are really, really key. We do really want to avoid cotton. If our feet get sweaty or we're running in the rain or in the sort of wet grass on a summer's morning, and cotton gets wet, it kind of expands, it rumples up, it holds that moisture, so it will really be much more likely to cause those friction-based hotspots and blisters. So technical fabrics, polyester, elastin, etc. are always a really, really good bet. It's also very much worth thinking about the fit of the socks. So again, you want them to be snug but not tight. You don't want them to be sort of wrinkles in the fabric that are going to get in between your skin and the shoe or footwear that you're wearing, because again that kind of going to cause rubbing and areas of hot spots and blisters. The other thing to bear in mind is that sometimes just a bit of lube on your feet can be really, really good. So something as basic as Vaseline or one of the more sports-based products like Body Glide. Just, around the toes, in between the toes, wherever you naturally feel those hot spots. If you've ruled out socks and shoes as the cause, then a little bit of Body Glide or lubricant can just really help, particularly on longer runs. And bearing in mind that in the summer, when we're hotter, our feet just tend to swell up a little bit more. So you might find that you need to change your lacing slightly, maybe change your sock strategy a little bit to take that into account. If you're doing particularly really long distance walks or runs, you'll probably have noticed that our feet tend to swell up a little bit. The longer time we spend on our feet, the more kind of slightly puffy they get. So if you are training towards one of these, ultra long events, and you haven't done one already, you might want to think about experimenting with a second slightly larger pair of shoes for later on in the event. Anyway, bit of a whistle-stop tour about avoiding blisters. We'll continue down the path of exploring feet and all the wonderful things about them, and what can go wrong and how we can avoid it in the next few videos.